Oh man, fuck. Where'd I put the? Where's the music? Oh, God, I guess I'll have to make my own. All right, here we go. Here it is, guys, the 20th episode. We hit the big 2-0 on the Stone Age Gamer. So for this special occasion, while Chris is away because he was too cool to celebrate with us, we're here to talk a bunch of shit about Nintendo tonight in the special Geek Life After Hours episode. I'm Dean DeFalco, as always, your hostess with the mostest. And with me is Dan and Tiff. Before we get into this, why don't we talk about what we've been playing a little bit, and then we'll hop into talking tons and tons of shit about Nintendo. So, Dan, why don't you start us off and let us know what you've been playing?
Well, I've been playing more Destiny because it's awesome, and in between rounds of Destiny and strikes and all that good stuff, there was a game that came out for PS Plus this week and PS4, maybe PS3, I don't know. Definitely PS4 and PS Plus or PS Vita. It was one of the free games with PS Plus this month, and it's called Pix the Cat. And what Pix the Cat is basically if you took the pellet gobbling maze navigating aspect of Pac-Man and married it with Snake, then you would have.
I'm saying Centipede.
Maybe.
Much closer to Centipede.
Well, see, you have this game. What you do in Pix the Cat is you are a cat that goes into a television, like most cats do. And as you are in the television, you are navigating these little mazes and gobbling up eggs. And as you gobble each egg, a duckling hatches from the egg and follows you like the tail in Snake. And then you have to navigate your way through these mazes, not running into your tail, or else your little ducklings blow up, which is really, really sad. And there's like little pods all throughout the maze that you have to drop them off in. And you just kind of repeat ad nauseum as you go throughout these levels. You gain more speed as you progress. If you do the level perfectly, you get a little bit of a speed boost so you can go deeper and deeper. I guess it's into the circuitry of the television. It's kind of weird.
But why are there ducks?
I don't know why they're ducks. But it's really fun. Like it's really addicting because I keep getting stuck at this one part and I'm like, all right, I can see completely and totally where I am shitting the bed, and I need to fix this. I need to get better at this. I need to get these ducks back to their home because as a cat, naturally, that's my job. It's really strange, but it's really charming. It's got a cool little soundtrack. It's nothing special, but it's pretty cool.
Dan, real talk, like, what cats have you been fucking hanging out with that go into TVs and save ducks? Like, I've never met any of these cats anywhere. All the cats that I've met are the exact opposite, especially ones that go into TVs. If you could find me a cat that goes into a television, by all means, you need a Nobel Peace Prize.
See, and I'm more fine with the cat going in the television than I am with there being ducks once he's inside of it. It is a really cute game, and I do like it a lot. But why are they ducks?
How much is it?
It's kind of blowing my mind.
Right now it's one of the free games for PS Plus.
Okay.
If you subscribe, I think it's either $5 or $10. I think it's closer to $5.
Yeah, it's
if
not
not
terrible.
$5 exactly. No, it's It's worth it. I mean, it's fun.
Cute.
It's a cute little puzzle game.
It's a nice update to a Pac-Man type situation.
Freaking awesome. Cool.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's cool.
Who doesn't love Pac-Man?
The only, like, the weirdest part of the game and the only negative thing that I have to say about it is as you're going through, there are certain times when you hit, like, a certain score, and you'll go into fever mode, which inverts all the colors, but it's like a black and white
X-ray.
invert. And it's just really weird looking. And it's on the Vita screen. When it does that, it's a little bit harder to follow. It's not so bad like on the PS4 when you've got it on a big ass TV, like that's fine. But looking at this weird inverted black and white thing, it's a little strange and a little hard to follow. Other than that, super fun.
So acid mode doesn't work too well.
Acid mode does not work.
Okay, good to know.
For me, you know.
It's understandable. I think most people would have trouble in acid mode. I actually saw a really totally unrelated to video games. I was cruising through Facebook, and I happened upon a odd article for this gentleman who took a whole bunch of drugs, whether it be marijuana, cocaine, Ambien, and many, many other things he probably shouldn't have been taking at any time in his life. And he drew a self-portrait of himself each time.
Oh, I saw that.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
Yeah, dude, like some of them were really, really cool and happy, and then other ones I was like, oh my god, I don't think I ever want to be in that place ever in my life.
I know some he had like a giant smile and was eating ice cream, and then there was another picture. It was like,
Where he
well,
was peeling
you
off
just
his
drew
own
a
skin.
fucking monster.
Yeah, exactly.
Jesus,
And then there
dude.
were other times that it was just like a sad little line.
Yeah, and I like, and I know it has nothing to do with video games. It's just the game we were talking about with like the trippy modes and stuff. And then I was like, yeah, I know something else for trippy modes today, and it's a gentleman who's probably hospitalized for all the drugs he took.
Yeah, he should be. That dude needs help. I mean, I appreciate his sacrifice for art, but he needs help.
Yeah. Anyway, back to happy things. Tiff, what have you been playing?
Very happy things. I have been playing SteamWorld Dig, in which you are a steampunk little robot dude in the Wild West with other steampunk little robot dudes, and your steampunk little robot dude uncle has died and left you his mine in his will, and you have to pickaxe your way all the way through it to find out why he left you the mine and why weird things are happening in the mine. And it's, why do I keep saying mind?
I was gonna
mine.
Okay.
With no D. And it's super cute. I like it a lot. It's just a little like side scrolly kind of.
Wait, so is there an actual story to that? Because I played it, and the main reason I stopped playing it was because I didn't think there was an end. I just thought it was some sort of, Terraria, Minecraft type.
No, there
ripoff.
is an actual story, and the ending gets a little bonkers. At one point, I don't want to spoil it for anyone, but at one point you actually break through the Earth. Really?
The Earth.
I mean, you seem to have broken through the
Why
Earth's
did you
crust.
say that like
The
Will Smith
Earth.
from Independence Day?
'Cause
Welcome to Earth.
I can't think of how else to conceptualize what happens, but you do break through all of the Earth and end up in a different place where all kinds of crazy weird things happen. So yes, there is a story to it, and it is very neat.
And like there is actually an end boss, because like
Yes.
I've already played through this and finished it, and now yeah, that's right. And now Tiff is playing through it, and yeah, like there's really no like enemies throughout the game. I mean, there's those little sluggy looking things and like
Well,
the
there's
bulls
big
that
turtles.
shoot spikes and whatnot, but
there's
there
no
is an
bosses
actual
like in you
Yeah.
know, it's not like in Mega Man where you go through a stage and have a boss, but there is a final
fight.
thing you have to
Yeah.
conquer.
That's cool, guys. I mean, I maybe I should go back and play it. I haven't installed. I don't know. I sort of lost interest in it. I mean, there were so many other games I started downloading, and I should probably stop doing things like that because I have about 60 games that I have said I need to beat, and then I stop playing them halfway through.
Well, what's
Good for
cool
me.
about it is, especially once you get a little further in and actually rack up some items and whatnot, you start going so deep into the earth that it sort of becomes a puzzle game because you only have light for a certain amount of time and you only have water to make your steam for a certain amount of time. So knowing where to place all of the items so that you can always get back and like recharge your light and sell your stuff and whatnot, it becomes very puzzly like that, because if you don't put them in the right place, you'll just never make it through.
Cool. I guess that leaves what I have to play. Yeah, well, if this was Paper Cuts, I'd have plenty to talk about, but this isn't Paper Cuts, is it?
No, so you've been playing Dota.
Well, shit. Actually, I have been playing nothing.
I think he just said he's been reading comic books.
Yeah, I've been super kind of stressed for time this week, and the only thing I've been playing is Smash Bros. I do have a funny story though. I guess that I should share. I was online, and to be honest, I didn't look at the full roster for the game because I wanted it to be a surprise for when I unlock them, and so far I've been pretty surprised. But what happened was I was online and we were all picking characters, and I was doing one-on-ones in like ranked play, I guess they'd call it, or for glory. I think it's called for glory in Smash Brothers.
Wow.
Yeah. But I was picking my normal character, which is Ike right now, because you can't really lose with him too often because he hits so hard that if you land one lucky shot, they'll go flying off the map into Neverland. So I'm getting ready, the match is loading, and then all of a sudden I look down and I'm facing the fucking Duck Hunt dog. And
awesome.
I'm just like, you can't be serious. Like, what can he do? Yeah. And he's actually kind of really good. And then I wanted to go play against Chris and his friends, so I got online with them and I started playing. And I was playing against Iggy Koopa. And it totally just made my head explode. I was like, that's really cool. They added some really cool characters to this game, and I had a lot of fun. Oh, actually, I'm sorry. It's Bowser Jr., but all the skins are all the Koopa kids.
That's cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's kind of cheap. That's kind of like Mortal Kombat palette swapping cheap. Like, no, it's Sub-Zero and Scorpion and Rain and Ermac and Reptile and...
Right,
I think that's
I understand.
Smoke.
Yeah,
Saibot.
well, the thing is, they didn't advertise them as different characters or anything like that. It's just a perk that, and instead of just color swapping him for each, what do you call it?
Yeah, it's a bonus.
Yeah, it's a totally different skin altogether. While they might have the same moves, at least it looks different, and you can kind of choose your favorite Koopa kid at that point. Which is nice.
But see, the point of this episode is fuck Nintendo.
All right, don't be a fucking part. We're not even to that part yet, okay?
What a bunch of jerk-offs.
Yeah, of course.
Palette swapping, midway copying, know-nothing
Yeah, Reggie can
losers.
go pound sand. Fuck that guy.
Well, I guess we're done with the who's played what now. Let's move on to our feature topic then. Why Nintendo sucks. You know what? You guys told me about some funky ass stuff right before we started the podcast, and you know what? I'm gonna leave the floor to you guys for this one, Dan and Tiff. Why don't you tell them about the gem, the massive gold mine that you found? Now you have me saying gold mine.
Okay, well, we gotta back up. We'll get to that. What we want to lead off talking about fuck Nintendo is the peripherals that they have had over the years that have been pointless, laughable, failures. I'm gonna go with the Power Glove, because while it was so bad, it was pretty fucking bad. And and then light scopes, and I'm gonna give you a scope for your gun that's also on a wire, so you can't sit further than 3 feet away from the television. But here's a scope for it to the Gameboy home theater of here's your portable gaming system and the giant 12-inch screen that fits on top of it and the speakers that pop off the side.
Do we know the actual name for that? Or please don't tell me it was called the Gameboy home theater.
I don't even think it was one solid piece.
Yeah, it was a bunch of just
it was
peripherals.
The screen that makes the screen bigger, and then there were extra speakers that you could pop in.
You can actually type in Game Boy Home Theater, and that picture of exactly what you're describing comes up. By the way, because I did that last week to plug that into the notes.
That's terrible 52-pound system.
I mean, come on. And then you get to the ever ridiculous Game Boy printer, where you can take a screenshot of the pixels on your 8-bit screen and print them out sort of like a grocery store receipt, kind of.
Wait. There was a point to that, because I guess since Chris is not here, I'll sort of play devil's advocate here. You could use the Game Boy camera to print out to the Game Boy printer, and I had one of those, and it worked.
It worked about as well as that little camera thing at Chuck E. Cheese that draws a picture of you.
It sort of worked, and when I mean it sort of worked, it took what looks like a picture of you, maybe, sometimes if you were lucky, other times I'm not sure. I'll tell you what, I'll give them an A for effort, because I don't know of any manufacturer before the cell phone age of like camera phones that just straight up went out and did something like that. And do you guys remember the Game Boy camera?
I want you to
Sure,
hold
see,
on
like,
to that A while I then segue into the Game Boy sewing machine.
Okay, here we go.
In which you could control your sewing machine with your Game Boy and embroider little, I don't know, your Pokemon badges? I don't even know. I that is so out there, I can't even fathom a situation where, okay, maybe that's kind of cute. I can't.
I gotta ask, was there some sort of like app or cartridge you popped in, and then
it did come with a cartridge in which you could control your sewing machine with.
Yeah, it was called Mario Family or Mario Family.
No, it wasn't.
It came out in 2000. So like this isn't
2000.
Even yeah. This
in
is
this
like
century, and it was $600.
You didn't happen to get a number on how many that sold, did it? Because
I have 5. I don't know.
5 at the most.
You know, if you bring this up to Chris, I'm sure he's going to find one somewhere and purchase it.
I'm sure he has 7.
Oh, he probably.
He's the one who bought them all.
That's what he shows his clothes out. Didn't you know that? That's how he gets all his fabulous T-shirts. He sews them all together with his Game Boy sewing machine.
What's awesome about this is that in Japan, the Game Boy sewing machine is called the Jaguar, and you can't call it the Jaguar in America because there was a really terrible system called the Jaguar. So instead of like some other cool, like, let's call it like a mountain lion or like the ferocious bobcat or like the ocelot or something kind of still cat themed, but
the puma.
Cool. The puma. They called it the Isaac, the Izek.
The Isaac Clarke.
just the Isaac.
Well, that's not as cool.
The singer Isaac.
Well,
it's insane.
Like, who even still had a Game Boy in freaking 2000?
Well, I mean, people still had. I gotta.
Who
think
had
about
a Game
that.
Boy actively enough that they needed to be controlling their sewing machine?
Okay, because that was the Game Boy Color, right? Around that time.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's Game Boy Color.
People still had Game Boys, just they didn't use them to sew their clothes together with. I can't even think of a.
Yeah, and like you can pick
that.
little pictures, like you can select Yoshi on the game, then your sewing machine will embroider a Yoshi on a little bit of fabric.
I don't even understand this.
And the craziest thing about it is like the quality level of this sewing machine is about the level of like the $30 Hello Kitty sewing machines you can get at Walmart. And it was $600.
Because it could talk to your Game Boy. That's why it was $600.
You know what? For $600, I'll talk to your Game Boy.
But are you going to sew at the same time?
Yes, I will. For $600,
okay.
yes, I will.
All right, good. And I
will
guess.
talk to the Game Boy and embroider you a sampler.
Can we call you the Puma?
Yes, you can.
Fantastic.
In fact, I'm going to insist on it.
Good. I'm glad we've gotten that out of the way.
Glad that's all cleared up now.
So
shit.
now that we got that gem out of the way, I actually wanted to bring up a little something on the GameCube. I know you had a quick thing to say about that, Dan, but do you guys remember a little thing on there called the what was it called? The internet adapter on that sucker?
Oh, the modem?
Yeah, there was a dial-up modem on that thing. Now, not that I'm knocking dial-up modems, but they had no. All right. First, I guess we should describe that generation. That was PS2. That was Xbox, and then there was the GameCube. Now, while the GameCube was severely lacking on the hardware side, Dan, why don't you tell everyone the main thing it didn't have?
DVDs.
Exactly, and that was already a big reason not to buy that system because it was pretty expensive when it came out for the price. I think it was $250, $300 when it first came out.
I bought it at $150, but I bought it when the gold one came out, so it had been a little while.
Yeah,
I mean, the biggest problem about the DVD thing is that that's what talked most people into making the leap to PlayStation 2 or to Xbox. Like, that was the deciding factor, because at the time, DVD players were still over $200.
Oh yeah,
so it was like,
yeah.
I could spend $250 on a DVD player, or I could spend $300 on a fucking PlayStation 2. I'm gonna get a PlayStation 2 because now I can watch DVDs on it too. But where in that conversation would you ever get a GameCube that plays nothing but tiny little mini GameCube games?
Exactly, and see, here's where the problem even got worse. Is when the internet fad started going towards gaming at that point. So you had SOCOM on the PlayStation 2, which had literally its own network. The game had its own servers, its own everything, and it worked marvelously. It was a great game, and you had the internet adapter and screwed right onto the back of the expansion port for the PS2, and it made this big chunky block of a monster. But it worked, so whatever. I'm not knocking it. Then you had the Xbox, and they had probably the sleekest thing at the time because they had the Ethernet port built right into the Xbox at launch. Even if it didn't use it right away, it was still there. And they had Xbox Live, and that was for all their games, whether they be good or bad. I remember playing MechAssault on that thing when I first got an Xbox, and it was so bad it was good. I remember playing fucking Counter-Strike because there were no other games to play on that thing at the time, and it was so freaking bad. Oh, God, I don't even want to think about it anymore. But
laggy as shit.
Exactly. Fast forward to the GameCube. What did you use the internet adapter for on the GameCube? I'll tell you what. You used it for Phantasy Star Online, and it was fucking terrible.
What the fuck is Phantasy Star Online?
You never played
Fantasy
Phantasy Star Online
on GameCube? No.
Yeah.
That was like the last reason to own a Dreamcast.
Exactly. Phantasy Star.
Why
Fantasy
the fuck would
Star.
you have that on your GameCube?
Because the Dreamcast went out of business, and apparently Sega for a little while was feeling kind of butthurt about what Sony and Microsoft did to them, so a lot of their stuff ended up Nintendo.
Yeah, as a Nintendo property, and it didn't work well for him. Phantasy Star Online was an utter failure on the GameCube, mainly because they were using the Sega, I think, network still at the time to try and log onto that crap.
Well,
and
why would you link something to your new system from a failed system?
They were just trying to make some money.
Nintendo?
Oh, well, don't get me wrong. Phantasy Star was a great game. It was just on a bad system. Like, if you put that on an actual server back then, like real good internet servers, they might have had something there. Unfortunately, it was just marred by terrible internet lag trying to play online. The only way to play that game was to play with your friends locally. And I mean, that was part of the fun of it in reality. But I mean, that was just one of the many things the GameCube did so very, very wrong. I mean,
and I think you bring up a good point there too, though, of like, because the thing is that we all love Nintendo deeply, and in ways that we don't even like.
I think they put something in the water.
They might have, but like Nintendo brought us all into gaming. And most of us, if we look back at our fondest memories of gaming, a lot of it involves Nintendo products in some way. And that's why these types of missteps are so glaring and so hurtful. And I take them personally because, like, yeah, they fucked up real bad with the network adapter. It was awful. And then the Wii came out, and the online play for the Wii was terrible.
Well, it was non-existent to a point.
Well, yeah, and then with the Wii U and now the 3DS, like, you look at what PlayStation and Xbox does with their online network of, I have a name, and that's it. And it's just a name, right? And what do you do with Nintendo? You have a friend
Here's
code.
My 47
you want to add
code.
me? Here's 40 digits
so
you got to type in.
So in order to add somebody
here,
on the computer, I have to talk to them in for real life. And that's the reason that I'm adding them on my computer, so that I don't have to talk to them in for real life.
Well, and it's such a glaring mistake, though, it's Nintendo. And that may be my biggest beef with Nintendo. And what hurts me so much is I want to love them more than I do currently. Because really, I am now a PlayStation guy. Like, I don't own a Wii U. We'll get one eventually. We owned a Wii that we played 4 times, maybe. And
well, yeah, because that bitch kept telling me I was fat.
Yeah, well, yeah. But, like, you know, I want them to do better. I want them to be a better company and to kind of future-proof their systems. Because Nintendo, I think a lot of times goes, well, we're fucking Nintendo. We're going to do this how we do it and deal with it, fanboys, because you'll eat this shit up.
Yeah, I had that same friend code problem recently. I didn't even know how to get my friend code, to be honest. I had people asking me for it for Smash Bros. And I looked at my DS. I literally stared at it for a good minute and a half, and I was like, what is my friend code?
Is it written on the box?
Like, I was just like, I don't get it. Where is it? And you have to go into, like, the actual friend code list settings or something, and I was like, fuck this. I ended up finding
it's worse
it.
than trying to find out what your phone number is on your own cell phone.
Yeah, like, I was just like, why are they hiding this? This should be, like, up front on, like, not even in the main menu, just, like, on your selection screen. So that's something you should be able to tell people. I mean, let's face it, there should be some easier way to do this. There should be, I don't know, like, when you street pass someone, it should register with them, like, if you want to add them as a friend, maybe, like, when they're going
Wait a minute. So
shit.
You're saying to me that Street Pass does not automatically link you up to add them? You still have to do the friend code after Street Pass?
Correct.
Then what the fuck is the point of Street Pass?
Puzzle pieces.
Okay, but all you've done at this point is go, ding, go talk to that guy next to you.
Puzzle pieces.
Asshole, what are you, my mother?
Stop trying to make me have friends, Nintendo.
I don't want to talk to people. That's why I have a computer.
Well, it's
Which
weird.
actually ties back to the worst peripheral of all time, the ROB Rob. Because that thing promised that it was going to be my video game playing pal, and it only ever played 1 game, and that's stupid. I thought it was going to play all of my games with me.
Well, it played 2 games technically, but neither of them were good.
No, it didn't do either of them very well.
It played the games, but you didn't, so...
Well, I don't even know if you could call that playing the games. He did something, but it looked more like work.
He turned left and right a lot. That was about all Rob did.
And I felt bad for him. Like, I would watch him. I'm just like, why? You take a break, man. You wanna play some video games with me? You don't need to do all that. It's okay. And
it's all good, Rob.
The best thing was that it was just a big controller. He wasn't like an autonomous like robot or anything. He was just a big controller with a motor in him.
And you know, for my little socially awkward child self, that would have been enough. That would have been enough. If you would have played Mario Brothers with me, that would have been enough.
He could play Mario Brothers, just not fast or well.
He could do it, though.
He could probably walk left and or right for a while, but then he'd fall down a hole and die.
Oh,
I don't think he could hit the A button quick enough. He wouldn't be able to take the weights out quick enough. Oh, God, poor Rob.
It's so funny. Like, when you look back through the history of Nintendo, it's like, man, you guys, I mean, just holy shit, you have done some amazing
How can you be so
things.
Smart and so stupid at the same time.
And then how?
We're looking at you, Virtual Boy.
Yeah, well, God. I mean, like, you know, they just, and I give them credit for certain things, like, you know, Virtual Boy was a swing for the fences that didn't even leave the goddamn infield. Like, it was just an utter disaster. I mean, just a disaster. And sure, there are people that like it for its quirkiness, but it's terrible.
I liked it at the time.
Unequivocally
I really enjoyed
awful.
playing it, but I was never allowed to play it for longer than like 35 minutes or something before my dad would come down and make me go do something else. So I'm pretty sure you're going to have a seizure in there. Go outside.
This may actually kill you.
Yeah.
Get the fuck outside. Make a friend.
Well,
See, that's what it all comes back to.
I remember I never had a Virtual Boy. I had an R Zone growing up, the Tiger thing, and that was pretty fucking bad. That was the same exact thing, but worse games, if that's at all possible.
Well, at least in the Virtual Boy, you can look at Mario while you're not hitting a ball.
Exactly. You know what I had? I had Mortal Kombat, and I can't really call it Mortal Kombat. It was like two red lines fighting each other, but
yeah, the Virtual Boy at times did go back to like Pong era graphics.
Well, I'll tell you what, I give it credit for. I can always give Nintendo credit for trying things because,
certainly,
honest
they
to
do
God,
try.
like even looking at this generation, I've never seen anything like the Wii U. They basically gave you a tablet, like as a game controller, which I think is novel. I don't think it's good, but I think it's novel.
I was going to say, I don't think anybody else thinks it's good either because make no mistake, the Wii. An unparalleled success for Nintendo. It's a terrible system overall, I would argue.
There's really nothing good about it. The graphics aren't good.
There's a couple really great games for the Wii.
Is there?
Yeah, the Metroid games are good. The Mario games are good, but that's about it. The Wii U has been
graphics were horrible.
Right, but I mean, you could counter. All right. Bottom line, the graphics weren't terrible.
Why are you defending
for
Nintendo?
Because Chris
Best
isn't
them
here,
with us.
and I feel like if I don't defend them even a little bit, it's just gonna be 45 minutes of saying fuck Nintendo.
Our entire episode next week is going to be point by point. Let's go through and talk about it.
Yes, I said it was
Chris
gonna be
is gonna be taking notes.
I said it was going to be a surprise for Chris, and I don't want the first thing that's going to happen on next Friday is for him to be like, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, I quit. And that's the end of the episode.
Well, he can't because next week's not an After Hours episode.
Well, he could still get mad at us on the regular episodes. I think just because we made this our raw version of the Stone Age Gamer doesn't mean he can't take it out on us on the regular Stone Age Gamer. But I digress. If they did in their demos what they like, I'm losing my train of thought. Let me try that again. If they did in their demos, like in the game, if they did in their games what they did in their demos,
there you go.
There we go. Thank you. I'm sorry. It would make a lot more sense. Mainly the problem is like even with the Wii U, how they had that one what was it, the party games that they had where you had five
was it
friends
Nintendo
over.
Land or
yeah
some shit?
and they integrated the tablet really well with 5 different controllers, so that made for a fantastic party game. I haven't seen anything like that since. In fact, they've really neglected to use the tablet in any good way at all. It's really just been a map or an inventory screen.
Honestly, I felt that way about the DS too.
Oh, I feel that way a lot of the time about the DS. I feel the screen's useless a lot of the time.
Yeah. When it was first coming out, we really all kind of envisioned some really awesome things that you could do with it. And then even when they did the announcement and the tech demos, they were like, look at everything that you could do with this. And then nobody did it ever.
Well, and I think that's another thing that really points to like Nintendo saying we're going to do this shit our way, and fuck you if you don't like it. I mean, their control schemes are perfect for Nintendo games, and they have completely lost the third-party market, which is a huge misstep. In the world that we live in today, not everybody has the money to go out and get every system. I mean, it was never that way. I had all the systems, and my friends would come over and be like, why the fuck do you have all the systems, you rich motherfucker?
You're supposed to pick one.
You're supposed to pick, But, like, you've got this system, the Wii, the Wii U, even the GameCube at the point with these very dedicated control schemes that work very, very well for Nintendo-developed products. And then if you try and play something else on it, it just doesn't work. And for me, like, I don't love the Mario games. Never have. They've never been a big thing for me. They insult me as an adult because I don't want to go like rescue the princess from, floofy cloud.
I will always want to rescue the princess.
I agree.
All the
I
time.
don't. I
in
don't.
Floofy Cloudland.
It's not, to me, I've never been able to shake the image of Nintendo as
This
a
is
kids
baby's
company.
game.
It is. Well, and like, because it hit at the perfect time, I was like, I loved my Super Nintendo, and I was so hard on defending Nintendo to everybody else who had a Genesis or whatever. And then the first Mortal Kombat came out, and I was like, you know what, Nintendo? You don't get to decide for me what I get to play. That, again, another huge mistake.
I
Yeah.
want to see blood.
I mean, you have a company here who decides what to censor, and was a huge mistake for them. I mean, obviously by the fact that they let blood into Mortal Kombat 2 and kind of from there on out. But, it surprises me that, again, a company so smart could make so many big mistakes.
But at the same time, I don't know that was a mistake. That might have been one of the sneaky smart things that they do, because by the weird little things like that from our perspective seem like such a mistake, they've really solidified themselves as a family system. So while they may not hit home runs and things like that, I think they feel like they have kind of trapped the mom market, if you will, of, I have little kids, we're going to get them a Nintendo. I had a Nintendo when I was little, and I'm going to get them a Nintendo because I know the Nintendo is a family thing. They're not going to be all that horrible teabagging nonsense that I've heard on the news is not going to happen on my Nintendo. So I think that in some way they'll always have that kind of bread and butter family corner.
No,
but,
sure.
What upsets me the most about Nintendo is the disappointment. And you hit on it a little bit, Dean, in saying that if their games looked like their demos, this wouldn't even be a conversation. And additionally, I mean, to my mind, why the Wii is such a failure to me is because the year before the Wii came out, I had been hearing for a long time about the next Nintendo system called the Nintendo Revolution that played all of their cartridges and Game Boy discs and whatever the new
Game Boy discs.
GameCube discs.
It's a fucking impressive console.
and they were also going to play full-size discs because the Revolution games would be a full-size disc so it could play DVDs. That is what that system started as, and that was what was wink wink nudge nudge leaked. That's what the stories were. And all of a sudden, in a matter of like a few months, it went, the Revolution's changing a bit. The Revolution is now going to be called the Wii. The Revolution is now Wii is going to have a fun motion controller. And then bam, it released and it was like, what the hell is that? That is not at all what we were told was going to be happening. Where do you put a cartridge in on that? And that was very disappointing. And so as much as people were like, look at the fun new thing we can do with the motion, I was like, yeah, that's awesome that you can go bowling, but do you have any concept of the system that I am mourning in my mind? Because that was going to be the greatest system of all time.
It was going to be a cool, pretty awesome system. Listen, guys, all I'm saying, just hear me out. Teabag Simulator.
Kickstarter.
Exactly.
Done.
Yeah, we got to start really making Kickstarters for these. I'm pretty sure
We
people
really
will
do.
give us money for this stuff.
We really do.
How about we just have a blanket awesome ideas we come up with Kickstarter,
Yes.
and we
Like
can
that.
just
That's
funnel
good.
the money into whatever project we're currently working on.
Yeah, no, that's a good idea.
And basically, we're just going to use it to not do anything like that.
Pizza would be an awesome idea.
Pizza. I like it.
That is an awesome idea that I think some of our Kickstarter funds should go to.
Okay, all right. That'll definitely be one of the top prizes for people donating, pictures of us eating the pizza.
All right. Well, if I can bring up one perhaps final mistake that Nintendo has made, again in a company that I love, and maybe it's not a mistake. Maybe I should be thankful to them for this, but by deciding that the Nintendo 64 was going to stay a cartridge-based system, they created my now favorite system, the PlayStation. With the deal that Nintendo had in place for the add-on to come for the CD extension to come for what was it? It was for the N64, right?
No.
Or was it for the Super Nintendo at the time?
Super Nintendo. It was an
right,
idea
it was
for the
gonna be a
Super
CD,
Nintendo,
yeah.
and that
a CD add-on for the Super Nintendo, and they backed out of the deal with Sony, and Sony went, well, fuck you, we're just going to release it anyway, whatever. And they dominated the next generation. They dominated with PS2. Sony certainly made some giant mistakes with PS3, but I mean, when you look at Japanese companies, they do not take very kindly to shady business dealings. As far as what I know about Japanese business, which admittedly is not very much, but that was seen as an unbelievably disrespectful move from Nintendo to back out of a deal with Sony, two huge Japanese companies. Sony, rightfully being hurt by it, went out and made a far superior system and took away Final Fantasy. I mean, that was synonymous with Nintendo systems. You had a Nintendo, you played Final Fantasy. You had a Super Nintendo, Final Fantasy 3 was your thing. And then all of a sudden, Final Fantasy 7 is on this new system, this PlayStation, and oh my god, look at the graphics of this thing.
Polygons!
Oh my god, look at Leviathan. It's the greatest thing I've ever seen. Right? There was that demo where you could play and they gave you access to the Leviathan summon, and it was just like, holy shit, like this is just incredible. And I can play Superman 64 instead? Like, ugh, that looks ugly, and it's a baby system. Okay, don't compare
the greatest PlayStation game to the worst N64 game.
If you look at any Nintendo 64 game, there's not one of them that looks good.
I will give you, on the bright side of ugly. The N64, that it did do one thing right.
Ocarina of Time?
No, well, yes, but I mean, technically, is no load times. In a world where, especially PlayStation 1, that era, and Dreamcast, load times ran rampant everywhere.
Well, and that's why...
Oh, they were terrible, but nobody
that's why Nintendo backed out of the deal, because they came with this CD add-on, and they put it through test after test after test, and Nintendo said, you got to get rid of the load times, and Sony said, that's not really possible, and Nintendo said, then we're not interested. That's why they stayed with the cartridge. They came out and said, people are not going to be okay with the load times. That's always going to be a problem. We're going to stick with cartridges because we think this is going to be a one-off gimmicky thing. They ended up being wrong. But then...
really, really wrong.
Well, yeah, but, it happens. There was the whole... Well, that's a whole other thing. But it happens. It's no different than VHS and Betamax. It's no different than Blu-ray and HD DVD. There are two sides of it always, and Nintendo
there was an HD DVD?
Oh, well, there was at one point.
That is what it was called.
Was it? Okay.
Make me feel like I don't know what I'm talking about. The red one. Remember there were the blue boxes and the red boxes?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a thing. And, Nintendo backed the wrong horse. They thought that people would not sit through a load time to play a silly little game, and they backed the wrong horse. But
I mean, yeah, that's the thing. It does happen. They've just been on the wrong side of this for quite a while, and they need to really get their heads back in the game. I don't know how many wrong things they can keep doing before they're like, well, we're out of money.
We're all still like, I love you, Mario.
Well, and that's really the thing. I mean, what worries me here is I like the fact that Nintendo still exists. And I do not want Nintendo to become a game maker only. Like, I like the fact that Nintendo is still in the game, because even with all their giant mistakes, they do make some interesting things. Now, I mean, the Wii brought us the PlayStation Move, which hasn't been used great, and brought us the Kinect, which I would argue is even more pointless.
And racist.
And racist when it came out. Yeah, but that's a whole other story. So I do like the fact that they're out there, and I don't want to see them go away. And I know that they have, Chris has brought it up on the podcast before, they have enough money to lose sales on the Wii U for a long, long time and whatever. But eventually they're going to make one mistake too many, and that's going to be it for Nintendo. And I don't want to play Zelda on my PlayStation ever. That's not right.
Unfortunately, I don't think that's
we ever
happen.
will lose them.
Yeah.
They own the handheld market, and they always will.
Nor did anyone think Sega was ever going to go out of business. No, they didn't. They did not.
Maybe Sega didn't think that, but I think that's because all the cocaine they were snorting.
No, when the Dreamcast first came, no.
Well,
when Sonic was popular
maybe you
and
didn't
Phantasy
think
Star.
Sega would
no,
go out
look,
of business,
no.
but
what I can say is the
You're both
Dreamcast.
wrong.
No, the Dreamcast at a glance was a very powerful, very well-versed system that had a lot of promise. Unfortunately, there was faulty hardware and a lack of third-party support that really tore
yeah,
that
but
game down.
Crazy Taxi.
Well, that's the thing, you know. To be honest, I look back at the library now because I have a Dreamcast because I wanted to, you know, really relive that stuff, and then I stare at it and I stare at the games I have, and I'm like, why did I want to relive this?
Well, no, the Dreamcast, dude, Power Stone, the Fatal Fury games that are on there.
Well, yeah, but the thing is that's
How dare you, good sir?
that's few and far between. Not every single game on there is a gem. While there
No, you're right.
are
there's some shit.
while there are a good amount of good games on there, not every single one is a home run, and unfortunately for that system, every single game counted. They needed every single game to be a success for that system to survive, and it wasn't. And that was mainly the problem. I mean, and that game still has cult hits like Power Stone and Shenmue, Phantasy Star, NFL 2K, the one that started a huge revolution against Madden. You know, there was all kinds of stuff like that, and it did a lot of things right. Unfortunately, it also did a lot of things wrong. And since this isn't the Why We Hate Sega podcast, I'm going to stop it there.
We'll do
but
that
see,
one with Chris.
I think that Nintendo owns the handheld market and always will. And Nintendo is always going to get its bread and butter from the family thing, from being the kid system. Because kids are getting into video games earlier and earlier and earlier. And I have no problem at any time sitting my kids down in front of a Nintendo Let's Play or a Nintendo game, or playing a Nintendo game with them. I don't think they have... I think the only game that we've played with at all with them on any other system is... the Lego games, but Nintendo is always going to get they're never going to go out of business on the backs of families.
Me and the kids play God of War when you're not around.
Awesome. There's too much nostalgia, and there's too many young kids.
You don't play Leisure Shoot Larry, Dan?
But I think what I'm hoping is happening is I'm hoping that we're because I view Nintendo very much like Disney. I feel like they're the same kind of level, you know, of iconography and whatnot. They're the Disney of the video game world, even though they're not Disney video games. You see what I'm trying to say. And so what I'm hoping is that we're kind of in a late 90s, early 2000s for Disney era with Nintendo now. You know,
so
now
like
is the
Pocahontas
time.
And
Yeah, now's the
Hunchback
time we're getting Hunchback and things like that. And it's not going great. And all of us were sitting around going, could Disney really be like ending? Because these just aren't good. And
these suck.
Ew, what's
Can
happening?
I dance with all the colors of the wind? I could, but I don't want to.
And so, but then some really awesome things started happening, and you know, we came back around with Princess and the Frog and Tangled and Frozen, and like they're back in the game. And Pixar I think really is what jump started them getting back in the game. But we all kind of thought for a while that Disney might be, you know, maybe it's best that you just stick to Mickey Mouse and the old cartoons and just be done with the new stuff. So I'm hoping that's what's happening with Nintendo. I'm hoping. I apparently can't talk tonight. I'm hoping that we're in that phase and we're on our way out. You know, I see some cool things happening. I was really, really surprised with Pikmin 3. I thought that was kind of a big leap forward. And also Mario Wii U, I think is a dramatic leap forward from Mario Wii.
Well, yes, I agree, and I guess we should probably start wrapping this up, but a couple final thoughts. I mean, look at something like what just came out, Smash Bros. Smash Bros has crosstalk between the 3DS version and the Wii U. Why hasn't this happened sooner? This is a no-brainer. Your game should crosstalk between your portables and your console. That's just an obvious thing to do. If they did that sooner with more games, they'd have so much more money and such a bigger market share. Because if you're saying, hey, listen, you could pick up this 99-cent game and it'll crosstalk with your $20 game you bought on your Wii U, and you'll unlock different characters and you'll be able to do different things in both games. That's a no-brainer. You're going to sell both of them automatically right off the bat because you're saying there's more content in each one. But they haven't, and that's been a huge issue.
Well, and that's kind of a problem because that's kind of a big thing that PlayStation 4 is doing. And they're doing big ad pushes on that, and that's a big upside of going with PlayStation because there is crossplay with your Vita. And I know not a lot of people got Vitas, but for the ones that did, in the middle of your game, you can pause it and then pick it up on Vita and go. It doesn't work for every game, but it works often enough that it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's kind of fun that I can. Well, and there is the cross chat too. I mean, I can be playing Destiny and talk to someone who's playing Madden, for example. But the crossplay too is really awesome. Like I can play Destiny on my Vita from upstairs when the TV is downstairs. I mean, that's really awesome. And I think that's really what it is. Obviously, I mean, we want to kind of bash Nintendo because it's funny to bash Nintendo when Chris isn't here because
it's really awesome to look at those bright primary colored sprites and go, fuck you!
He's going to listen to this. And, I mean, this is perhaps the most self-indulgent podcast we are ever going to do because the three of us went, Chris isn't here, let's do something that's going to make him, like, pop a vein in his forehead when he listens to it.
Let's make him mad.
Yeah, let's make Chris mad because whatever. But...
Well, it's a similar kind of thing. He is just as lovable as Mario, so it's kind of nice every day to get his fuck you.
To Chris?
Yes.
Fuck Chris? Oh,
and
okay.
Mario.
But yeah, no, like we all want this to be better. We want it to be awesome. I want a reason to buy a Wii U. I really do. I don't have one
We
yet.
keep looking for one.
I keep trying to come up with a reason to get a Wii U, and Nintendo, like, honestly, with the Wii, they burned me pretty bad. Like that, I loved my GameCube, I really did, and we got a Wii, and we're really excited about it, and it's not a good system. It's just not, Yeah,
we really tried.
They really screwed the pooch on that one, which is weird to say because they sold a bajillion units, but
for
they
an
sold
entirely
them
different
to
reason.
old folks'
I
homes.
almost think it's not even fair to compare or to put Nintendo in the same market as PlayStation and Xbox because it's like nobody when that happened went, I'm not going to buy a PlayStation, I'm going to go buy a Wii. Like, no, it was for an entirely different reason. And it was largely for the same reason that they sold Nintendo's, the Nintendo Entertainment System to begin with, because it was not marketed as
that's
a video
what I'm
game.
gonna say. I think they reverted back to a toy in that generation, and I think that was their big issue.
But a very successful toy.
Oh yeah, no,
Not a very successful video game system, but an extraordinarily successful toy.
Right, and you could judge that by the amount of shovelware that was on the Wii. There's not many good games. I mean, there are a few great third-party games. What is it? Boom Blocks, for example, is a fantastic, simple party game that you could play with anyone. It's great. And I mean, for anyone that hasn't played it, it's fucking awesome. And all you do is throw a ball at a Jenga-sized tower of blocks, and it's literally the best thing I've ever played in my life. I could play that game for hours on end. But yeah, Mad World was good. That was a third-party one. No More Heroes, third-party. The Resident Evil stuff, like Resident Evil 4, the remake for it was, again, obviously a third party, and it worked out great for the Wii U.
But none of that even took advantage of the Wii as a Wii.
Well, it
did. Worked around it.
Well, no, the Boom Blocks was totally motion controls.
Well, I'm not talking about the party games. I'm talking about like the actual video games.
I feel like Nintendo dealt themselves a shit hand, and they worked with it the best they could to an extent.
Yeah, well, and really, I mean, if they announced tomorrow that they were coming out with a side-scrolling 2D, 2.5D, whatever the hell you want to call it, Metroid game, then I'm in. Then you've got me back, Nintendo.
Well, right, because where we are currently is the reason that we're going to get one is because of the kids. The kids, obviously, they're kids. They are lapping at Nintendo's heels. They love Pikmin. They love Mario. They love everything quintessentially Nintendo.
There's some good games on the Wii U that I can attest to because I have a Wii U. And while there aren't a vast amount of games on the system, there are definitely good gems. Like, that's the thing. All right, say the Wii had a few good games, and most of them were bad. The Wii U doesn't have that many games, but the games it does have are very solid.
Are pretty good.
It's only got 10
But you know
games,
what? That's
but
good, though.
8 of
Well,
those 10
that-
are
that's-
awesome.
But that's good, because then that means people are actually trying to
Develop
work
for
with the Wii
it, right?
U and actually make a good game for
Right.
it, and not how do we get our game in here.
Exactly. That's the thing. You know, I just going through a list off the top of my head. Bayonetta 2 just released. Hyrule Warriors, which essentially is Dynasty Warriors, but I mean, Dynasty Warriors can still be fun to an extent.
But Bayonetta is another example. Why in God's name is Bayonetta a Nintendo exclusive?
Because nobody else.
Well,
would
that's the
push
thing.
it.
No one else would pick it up.
No, I understand that, but what about that made Nintendo go, ooh, let's go jump on that?
Because they need an
that is,
extra
like-
title. I think that's it. They just wanted an
Yeah,
extra
but
title.
I can't think of anything less Nintendo than fucking Bayonetta.
Oh, well, that's the thing. This system, when it came out, was being marketed as, hey, listen, we're going to try and get the hardcore gamers back. If you remember when that system came out, they were like, listen, we're going to have Batman. We're
No, I remember,
you know,
but I think that is a mistake. I think that they found a whole new niche that the other consoles weren't filling, and I think that they had a marvelous explosion, and they went, okay, now that we've done that, let's not market towards everyone that just made us bajillionaires a minute ago.
Well,
like, I think that's
I
don't know.
to be honest, I guess they wanted to try to do some service to the hardcore fans, which you can't make everyone happy. Let's be honest. You know, we're just kind of fucking around tonight and, you know, trashing Nintendo, but the reality of it is you can't make everyone happy. Someone's going to get burned. And, you know, you can turn your back on the casuals and go towards the hardcore audience, or you could turn your back on the hardcore and try to cater towards the casual, but trying to go right in the middle, you're walking a very fine line, and you're probably going to get a lot of blowback in your face.
I completely agree with that. I just feel like it's so much harder for something like Nintendo. You are fighting so much worse of a fight to try and get hardcore gamers over trying to get casuals. Like, I think casual is your wheelhouse, and you should really stick with that.
Yeah, not for nothing, I'm pretty easy to please. In our What We've Been Playing segment, I talked about a game where you are a cat that eats eggs and hatches ducklings. I mean, I'm not all that hard to please. You know.
Things could be better for them, to say the least. But I believe that is going to chalk us up to about an hour here, and I think the Chris bashing should stop for the night. Guys, do you have any plugs you want to put in? Dan, I know you did a Why You Love Wrestling. Did you want to say anything else about that? You want to plug it again?
Yeah, I'll get another Why I Love Wrestling up. Yeah, that's really about it for this week. I don't know. we didn't get a new computer yet, so we still can't record man and wife versus whatever. So
I thought it was
you know,
man versus wife.
Oh, you guys are
I'm
gonna
not gonna be
face each
against
other?
you.
That's gonna be fantastic.
No, we're gonna play together,
Oh.
but watch how quickly that devolves into like real life Mortal Kombat between the two.
Oh,
of us.
that's great. I'm gonna love every second of it.
Because if like when we play like Soul Calibur, we actually do really well because I can just beat you up on the screen. But when we play
because you're a
something
button
co-op,
masher.
I am not a button masher, and I am way better at Soul Calibur than you. So, and we're just gonna leave that there.
God.
Anyway,
that is not even close
That
to
is
true.
so true. Don't front in front of our audience. They know what's real.
Don't fight in front of me, God.
This will be a yeah.
Anyway.
We're fighting in front of Dean.
I'm sorry, Dean.
It's okay.
Dean's gonna go up
Earmuffs.
in his room and cry.
Earmuffs.
Okay.
But when we're playing co-op, that's when shit gets real because it's like, go over here. I can't go over there. I need you to come over here and do this thing. You do it. It's amazing.
When I was playing Mario Wii with Jessie, things got out of hand incredibly quickly. She was
It really does. You start really delving into the core of your relationship in those.
Yeah, she was like screaming at me because I was like so far ahead, and in that game, if you go too far ahead, the other person dies.
Oh yeah, and because if you pull them off the platform, that's like
yeah, and there
or
was
if you both bubble at the same time.
Yeah, there were so many times she was just like, "Fuck you, Dean! Fuck you! I'm done."
I was going for the giant coin.
Yeah, and I was just like, "Welp." So that was fun, but yeah, I can't wait for that.
Yeah, so there you go, Geek Life audience. We're going to be risking our relationship for your audio enjoyment.
Well,
audio and visual enjoyment.
I'm excited.
Please
to
leave
least.
comments as to what games you would like us to play.
That's right. You could probably send that to our email address. That is g33klifesite@gmail.com. That is geeklifesite@gmail.com. Excuse me, I got some indigestion going on. Ooh. Anyway.
Nintendo does that to me too.
You can also like and follow us on Facebook or Twitter, respectively. I believe I said that in the right order. Yes, like and follow on Facebook or Twitter. Ooh, I did get that right. I'm feeling good. And it, that that basically keeps you in the loop for all of our videos, articles, what have you, being put up throughout the week. You'll get the first notice through Facebook or Twitter. When we put stuff up, we put it out on both of them, and then you can go ahead and look at it, watch it, download it immediately. Chris will be doing more of his Into the Vault stuff. Did you guys happen to see that whole newsletter thing that he did from the Nintendo Fun Club?
I did.
That was pretty freaking cool. I had a lot of fun watching that.
Fascinating.
Exactly, right? And all the way from 1987.
On so many levels.
Yeah.
Like I found myself tuning out to like what he was actually saying and just marveling at the man himself.
Yeah, he's quite a fantastic dude, and you can catch more of that next week. He'll have episode 3 out, and we're really excited to get it up. Also, I'll be doing more Vestlord versus. I know what I said. Shut up. Shut up. Shut up.
Oh my god! I mean, I'm in my 30s. Am I allowed to let that go yet?
I know we said after hours, but come on now.
Really, really excited. Chris is going to put up a video, and I'm really excited to get it up to Chris's video.
Fuck both of you, okay? I'm tired.
Oh man, jeez, Dean. I'll tell you.
Whatever. Where was I with this? Damn it. Oh, fuck.
Geek Life site.
Yeah, you can go ahead and get on our website, www.geeklife.com. That's www.g33klife.com. Go there, hit the Contact Us tab, throw us a comment, tell us what you like about the show, what you don't like, what games you want to see us play in the future for Vestlord Versus or Man vs. Wife, which should be incredibly entertaining. Why you think I should probably stop talking because it leads to just incredible sexual innuendos. And
not to mention sexual tendency.
Yeah, of course. And just really tell us any sort of feedback you got for us. It greatly helps us learn about the show and ourselves and what people like to hear and what they don't like to hear. Also,
however, take this episode with a grain of salt.
Of course, yes. Because this is pretty much just satire.
Yeah.
But besides that, you go ahead and leave us a rating on iTunes when you subscribe. That really helps. And if you could spend a couple of minutes, write a review, preferably a nice one if you're gonna leave any review.
Yeah, if you don't like the show, we don't want to hear it.
Yeah, pretty much.
I have no interest.
I mean, we value your opinion, but if it's about not liking the show, keep it to yourself.
Yeah, really. If you don't have anything nice to say, shut the fuck up.
Dan.
Hey, I was wondering, Dean, if let's just say that I'm a fan of the Stone Age Gamer. Are there any other podcasts on the Geek Life site or in the Geek Life family that I could listen to?
No, I deleted them all.
Shit.
No, actually.
That sucks.
Actually,
all our hard work.
Yeah. No, I got rid of them. No, but there is the Geek Philosophers, which will be back. We've been on hiatus lately. I've kind of been redesigning the overall feel of that podcast. But there's Paper Cuts, which happens every week, starring myself. You did, in fact. So you should know about that one. I hope you're listening to it.
Actually.
Unless you just come on and you think you're talking to yourself for 45 minutes at a time. And then, we have Evan on there.
Everyone agrees with me.
Exactly. Well, we pretty much do agree with you on there. Oh my God, I'm losing my train of thought on this. I got to stop going off on tangents. But yeah, let me reel this back in. The Geek Philosophers, Paper Cuts podcast are both fantastic podcasts that you can listen to on our website or through iTunes. You can type in Geek Life into iTunes or whatever podcatcher you're using, and all 3 of those podcasts should.
I listened to it through Downcast.
Me too, actually. Me too. I love Downcast. It's fantastic.
Yeah, Downcast is a dope app. Go download it.
Yeah. Downcast, give us some of your ad money now because we just gave you a good revenue stream going on. All 250 people we got following us are going to download Downcast now, minus the ones that are on this podcast.
All 247 people that we got.
Oh God!
It's more than
okay,
that. I've seen the numbers.
Yeah, we need to end this. I'm getting a little punky and things aren't making sense anymore. Dan, why don't you sing us out?
What?
That was a lot of pressure.
That was a lot of pressure.
Do 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 do
Do, 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 do.
Did I stop doing this?
Well, that was a fantastic song. From those of us here at the Stone Age Gamer and from Geek Life in general, have a good night. Where'd I put that? Found it. Finally. All right, here we go. Finally, real song.